Hey you guys, welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another video in my travel series. It is a beautiful summer day. I'm gonna call it summer because May is almost over, and I feel like May is kind of that month where it's like, depending on the weather, it can either still be spring or it's just like, fuck it guys, it's summer. I have quite a few trips coming up. Flying to New York to visit a friend. I'm flying down to San Diego for Comic-Con and to spend time with another friend. I'm going to Europe for 2 months. I'm so excited. Over the years, I have been to over 30 airports worldwide. I'd like to think that I've got, you know, a pretty good handle on how to get through the airport. So we're gonna pretend that we are flying together from Seattle to London. So I'm just going to kind of go over quickly, like, you know, the steps and what you're going to go through and what you're going to experience, what you're going to need to get from point A to point B. I'll touch down on customs and layovers a bit. I am going to make a whole separate video on customs because Lord knows there's some things that you should know, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to bulldoze through customs. For the sake of this video, you're flying with Icelandair. So you go on to the Icelandair website and you follow the instructions on the website to check in. Alright, so you have just been dropped off at the airport. Regardless of whether or not you have a checked bag or not, you go to that counter and that's where you check in. So what you're going to need is your passport. And you're going to need your boarding pass. If you have a checked bag, they're going to have you put it on the scale and they're going to weigh it, make sure you meet all the parameters that you're supposed to, and then they will, it's a sticker, and I like to call it your luggage boarding pass, and they tie it on to a handle or wherever they can put it. They press the button and your bag is off and on its way, and you say bye bang, see you in Heathrow. Now, I'm going to show you this boarding pass. This, as you can see, has 2 lines because I had 2 flights. With Icelandair, you have a mandatory layover in Iceland. So the first line is my flight from SeaTac to Reykjavik, and then the second line is from Reykjavik to Heathrow. If you can see as well, I got some squigglies and some check marks going on here. These each represent every time I came across, I'm just going to call them checkpoints, pretty much, where different officials and authorities checked my passport and this guy. Security check. So in my country, it is required to take off your shoes, and you put your shoes in a bin. That is both domestic flights and international. Put your shoes and your jacket in one bin. The next bin, I'll put my passport, my boarding pass, and then my phone. I only take my phone with me when I travel, but that's the time where you get out all your electronics, your mobile, your iPads, your Nooks, your Kindles, your laptops. All the electronics need to go out and in the bin at this time. If you're even flying with a carry-on, that takes up its own bin. Don't worry about how many bins you might take up, because in the long run it makes life for them easier to just kind of go through your things and sift through it if they need to. Send your stuff on down the ramp and then you walk through the detector. In the States, you gotta take it off because it's gonna set things off. I've seen it, you know, you watch videos on YouTube and someone's like, oh, and I like to bring these necklaces when I travel and I wear my bracelets and my rings. It's like, God, Jesus, I'm so glad you don't live anywhere near me because I would just hate you. Like my father, he had a very bad injury a couple years ago, and that required him to get metal screws and plates put in his leg. So when he goes through the airport on our side, he has to make sure that he has his medical documents with him. No big deal. It's just, you know, in case he does set off the detector, he can just show them. his documents in case they have any questions, and then he's good to go. So once you make it through, you gather up all your things. It's time to go find your terminal and your gate. And sometimes you can just walk there. Sometimes it's way far away and you need to take the little like subway trains down there. And once you get to your gate, you just kind of get to hang out for a while. The flight attendants will start making the announcements on what flight is about to board, and then they're going to call out first class, and then when they get to coach or economy, they're going to call out different sections. And so that's when you'll look at your boarding pass and you'll figure out, like, you know, which row and which seat you are. And then once they call like your section that has your row, and then you can get up, you head towards the counter and you show the flight attendant your boarding pass and your passport. They check that off again and send you on your way. You board the plane. Then you just need to show your passport and the flight attendant will welcome you on, and if you need help figuring out where you're sitting, you can ask. That's what they're there for. And then you will put you get to your seat and you put your carry-on and your luggage, whatever you have, the overhead compartment above your seat. Ideally, right, there are those assholes that just seem to take up everything, and it's like, oh my god. So just, if the overhead compartment above your spot is taken, just ask a flight attendant for help and they'll help you. Prepared for dickheads and assholes, you know who they are, the ones that try and rush you, and just don't even fucking worry about it, because those same dickheads are going to be the ones when you land that are like jumping up as soon as the plane like touches, because they don't like to follow the rules, and they're going to get up and they're going to try and shove everybody else out of the way. And so with flying, you just kind of have to take it slow and just go with the flow. And getting ready to touch down in London, and you're super excited, but at one point, about half an hour or so prior to landing, the flight attendants are going to come down the aisle and they're going to ask you if you're a citizen or if you're visiting whatever country you're going to. And so in this case, you're coming from the States and you are a visitor going to the UK, and they're going to hand you a card. I don't have one.
JK, guys. So this is an actual UK landing pass customs card. Here's what it looks like.
So you hold on to your customs card, your boarding pass, your passport, and you're just gonna hang out until your plane lands. And then it's time to gather your gear and get going. If you had a checked bag, you don't even get to touch it. You don't get to see it until after you've gone through the border. So customs first. We're going to come to this big, huge, open, I'm not even going to call it a room. It's not a room. It's like, kind of feels almost like a stadium. It's ginormous. And you're going to see signs in 3 sections. And in Heathrow's case, it said like UK citizens, the EU citizens, which means European Union, and then non-EU citizens. And you can guess which line yours truly had to go in. Yes, non-EU, and it's always the slowest line. God damn. But you have to remember that whenever you go back to your home country, it's the same problem for everybody else. So it's just kind of like, ugh, God. Passport, boarding pass, customs card. I sound like a broken record, but you gotta make sure you have those on you. That's essentially it. Once you get through customs, it is smooth sailing. Have a really great flight and have a really good time. See you guys next time. Bye.